Had Israel built the tabernacle and priests' clothing just as the Lord had commanded? What might the various components picture about Jesus? Could Moses' final inspection be a type of judgment of our lives? Let's look at Exodus 39. Is there significance to the people's obedience, as the Lord commanded, being mentioned 10 times in this chapter? The craftsmen made beautiful sacred garments of blue, purple, and scarlet cloth, clothing for Aaron to wear while ministering in the holy place, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. What was the possible significance of the detail in the high priest's ephod or vest? He made the ephod or vest of gold, blue, purple, scarlet, and fine twined linen. They beat the gold into thin plates and cut it into wires to work it in with the blue, the purple, the scarlet, and the fine linen. The work of the skillful workmen. They made shoulder straps for it, joined together. It was joined together at the 2 ends. The skillfully woven band that was on it, with which to fasten it on, was of the same piece. Like its work, of gold, of blue, purple, scarlet, and fine twined linen, as Yahweh commanded Moses. What might be the significance of Israel being pictured as 12 gems? They prepared the gemstones by mounting them in gold settings and engraving on them the names of Israel's sons, like an official seal is engraved. The stones were attached to the vest's shoulder pieces as reminder stones for the Israelites, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. What might be the significance of placing the gems representing Israel near the high priest's heart? The breastpiece was made with the same materials and designs as the priestly vest. It was 22 centimeters square and folded double with 4 rows of 3 precious stones. A carnelian, a chrysolite, and an emerald were in the first row. A turquoise, a sapphire, and a diamond were in the second row. A jacinth, an agate, and an amethyst were in the third row. And a beryl, an onyx, and a jasper were in the 4th row. They were mounted in a delicate gold setting, and on each of them was engraved the name of one of the 12 tribes of Israel. Weaving gold was a skill possibly learned in Egypt. What might be the significance of these expensive materials for the priest's clothing? And they made on the breastpiece twisted chains like cords of pure gold, and they made 2 settings of gold filigree and 2 gold rings, and put the 2 rings on the 2 edges of the breastpiece. And they put the 2 cords of gold in the 2 rings at the edges of the breastpiece. They attached the 2 ends of the 2 cords to the 2 settings of filigree. Thus they attached it in front to the shoulder pieces of the ephod. What was the purpose of the golden rings attached to the ephod or vest? They made 2 other gold rings and put them at the 2 other corners of the breastpiece on the edge that's next to the inner border of the ephod. They made 2 more gold rings and attached them to the bottom of the ephod's 2 shoulder pieces on its front, close to its seam above the ephod's woven waistband. Then they tied the breastpiece from its rings to the rings of the ephod with a cord of blue yarn, so that the breastpiece was above the ephod's waistband and didn't come loose from the ephod. They did just as the Lord had commanded Moses. What was possibly the purpose of making images of pomegranates in the vest or ephod? He made the robe of the ephod of woven work, entirely of blue. The opening of the robe was in the middle, like the opening of a coat of mail, with a binding around the opening so it would not be torn. On the hem of the robe they placed pomegranates, made of blue, purple, and scarlet material, and woven linen. They made bells of pure gold, and put the bells between the pomegranates, on the hem of the robe, all around between the pomegranates. There was a bell and a pomegranate, then a bell and a pomegranate, all around the hem of the robe, for when the high priest ministered, just as the Lord commanded Moses. How were the coats of the priests made? What might be the significance of the materials used? And they made coats of fine linen, of woven work for Aaron and for his sons, and a mitre of fine linen, and goodly bonnets of fine linen, and linen breeches of fine twined linen, and a girdle of fine twined linen, and blue and purple and scarlet of needlework, as the Lord commanded Moses. And they made the plate of the holy crown of pure gold, and wrote upon it a writing, like to the engravings of a signet, Holiness to the Lord. And they tied to it a lace of blue, to fasten it on high upon the mitre, as the Lord commanded Moses. Was the tabernacle now finally completed? Was it done as God had commanded? Thus all the service of constructing the tabernacle of the tent of meeting was completed, and the sons of Israel did according to all that Yahweh had commanded Moses. So they did. Was there a final inspection of the various parts of the tabernacle? What spiritual picture of Jesus might each part represent? Then they brought the tabernacle to Moses, the tent and all its furnishings, its clasps, its boards, its bars, its pillars, and its bases, and the covering of ram skins dyed red, and the covering of fine leather, and the covering curtain, the ark of the testimony, its poles, and the atoning cover, the table, all the utensils, and the bread of the presence, the pure gold lampstand, with its arrangement of lamps and all its utensils, and the oil for the light, and the gold altar, and the anointing oil, and the fragrant incense, and the curtain for the doorway of the tent, the bronze altar and its bronze grating, its poles and all its utensils, the basin and its stand, the hangings for the courtyard, its pillars and its bases, and the curtain for the gate of the courtyard, its ropes and its pegs, and all the equipment for the service of the tabernacle, for the tent of meeting, the woven garments for ministering in the holy place, and the holy garments for Aaron the priest, and the garments of his sons to serve as priests. Had Israel done just as the Lord had commanded? Was the final inspection approved? The Israelites had done all the work, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Moses inspected the work and saw that they had done it just as the Lord had commanded. So Moses blessed them. Had Israel built the tabernacle and priests' clothing just as the Lord had commanded? What might the various components picture about Jesus? Could Moses' final inspection be a type of judgment of our lives? You decide.